All right, let's talk about something that honestly affects every single part of our lives: our work, our friendships, our families. We're going to dive into how to set boundaries, and maybe most importantly, how to do it without that awful, gut wrenching feeling of guilt.
You know that feeling, right? Someone says something or does something, and you get this hot flash of, wait, what? It's like a mix of anger and total surprise. And in that split second, you're trying to decide, do I say something or do I just let it slide? It's super uncomfortable, but it happens to all of us. The good news is there's a much better way to handle it.
So, to get a handle on that feeling, we first have to get crystal clear on what we're even talking about. What is a boundary, really? I love this definition from relationship expert Nedra Glover-Twa because it's so simple and powerful. Boundaries aren't about building walls to punish people. They're about keeping you safe and sane. Think of them less like a fence and more like a user manual for how to have a healthy relationship with you. It's self-care for sure, but it's also relationship care. And look, boundaries aren't just one thing. They pop up everywhere. You've got physical boundaries, about your personal space, emotional boundaries, about what you're willing to talk about, huge ones around your time and how you spend it. And yeah, they even cover your money, your ideas, and even your relationship with your phone. They touch literally every part of your life.
So, if boundaries are so essential for us, why is saying no one of the hardest things in the world to do? It's a great question, and it turns out there are some really deep reasons behind it.
A huge piece of the puzzle is just where we come from. In more collectivist cultures, the harmony of the group is everything, so speaking up for your own individual needs can feel really selfish. On the flip side, in more individualistic cultures, it's all about personal needs, but that can sometimes leave people feeling disconnected. The point is, neither one is right or wrong, but knowing your own cultural programming is a really important first step. And all of that helps create what psychotherapist Terry Cole calls our boundary blueprint. It's like this internal map that gets drawn for us when we're kids. If you grow up hearing things like, don't rock the boat, or you just watched your parents constantly putting everyone else first, well, that gets wired into you. It becomes your unconscious rulebook for how to act in relationships. And that blueprint, it's what fuels all those big fears, isn't it? The fear of a fight, the fear that someone will reject us or think we're mean or pushy. We're terrified of letting people down, and right at the bottom of it all is that awful, creeping guilt we feel for simply trying to take care of ourselves.
Okay, so that's the tough stuff. But here's the amazing part. You are not stuck with that old blueprint. You can absolutely draw a new one. So let's get into the practical side of this. Let's build your boundary toolkit.
It really just boils down to these 3 steps. First, you have to identify it. You got to get quiet with yourself and ask, what do I actually need here? What's my limit? Second, you have to communicate it. You've got to say the words out loud, clearly and kindly. And third, and this is the one we often forget, you have to be willing to enforce it. Because let's be real, a boundary without a consequence is just a suggestion.
Now, here is a game-changing tool for that communication step. Use I statements. So instead of pointing the finger and saying, you're always interrupting me, which, immediately puts someone on the defensive, you flip it. You make it about you. You say, I feel frustrated when I can't finish my thought. See the difference? It's not an accusation. It's an expression of your experience.
And this is so important because, as Terry Cole puts it so well, when you let things slide, you are silently agreeing that it's okay. You're actually teaching people that it's fine to cross your boundaries. What we're aiming for instead are clean agreements, where everybody is on the same page. No guessing games, just clarity.
Okay, you ready for my favorite part? This next tool is, I think, the most powerful one in the entire toolkit. Seriously, this is your secret weapon when it comes to setting boundaries. Because let's be honest with ourselves for a second. The hardest part isn't knowing that you should probably say no. We usually know that.
The real struggle is that moment of panic. Someone asks you for something, your heart starts pounding, and your brain just goes completely blank. You're scrambling, fumbling for the right words, any words, to say no without feeling like a total jerk. But what if you didn't have to scramble? What if you had the words already there, ready to go? This is where it gets so cool. The research actually backs this up. Studies show that when you give people an explicit script, literally the exact words to use, it makes it so much easier for them to feel comfortable and free to say no. It's like it short circuits that automatic people-pleasing yes that so many of us have built in. So what does this actually look like? Let's run through some. A friend asks to borrow money you can't really afford to give. A simple, I can't loan you money right now. That's a full sentence. A relative starts giving unsolicited advice. I'm not discussing my choices right now. A coworker who keeps venting to you. I'd love to help, but I need to focus on work. Or an invitation you just can't make. Thanks so much for thinking of me, but I can't make it. They're clear, they're kind, and you don't owe anyone a 5-paragraph essay explaining why. Now, let's be very clear about one thing. This is not about becoming some kind of boundary-setting ninja overnight. The goal here isn't perfection. It's just practice. And as Terry Cole reminds us, this is a lifelong skill. Your life is going to change, your relationships will evolve, so your boundaries have to evolve right along with them. The boundaries you needed in your 20s are probably way different than the ones you need in your 40s. And that's not just okay, that's exactly how it's supposed to work. And what about that guilt? Because, oh yeah, it's definitely going to show up, but the next time you feel it, I want you to try reframing it. That feeling of guilt doesn't always mean you've done something wrong. Sometimes it's just a signal that your values are bumping up against someone else's expectations. It can actually be an indicator of growth, not a sign of failure. So, I'll leave you with this question. What's one small, manageable boundary you can practice setting this week? It doesn't have to be some big, dramatic confrontation. It could be as simple as saying, let me check my calendar and get back to you, instead of an automatic yes. That's it. That's how you start. That's how you begin to redraw your own boundary blueprint.